Hello, my loves. It is your girl, Kim the Goddess. And we are I'm going to try not to talk too loud, but not too soft. Marley's taking a nap. And this is going to be kind of a long message, but hello. I'm getting my Miss Cleo on. I had to take that wig off, y'all. I'm sorry. But um, I'm here to bring you your spiritual message and spiritual guidance for the end of this week, going into next week. And I do realize that this is something that was impactful for whoever did watch it. And there are people that, do look forward to me doing these messages. So I will get back into delivering these messages starting next week. You guys know I do have my business and I am in school full time, so I'm trying to um, budget my time management, and get my priorities in line, okay? So this time, y'all, I promise I won't be going off and cussing people out and doing all of those things. Even though part of this message does speak to that, I won't get so in depth on the topic here. I am working on something that I'm going to do some more research on once I get this video done and out, so that there's a platform where I can express those things and you guys can join in on the conversation. So forgive me, y'all. I've been making stuff in my nails. Anyways, so as I just posted on Twitter, it's something about France and altitude. I think Spirit was trying to tell me that it's clearing up over there, and I'm not sure if it has something to do with the altitude, or it's something that they're doing over there, and it doesn't have anything to do with the vaccine. But I pulled actually 3 cards. The first card was more catered to myself, but I felt like the message is something that everyone else needed to hear and understand. And that was, we are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light, which means that as a collective, not just as individuals, as a collective, our inner reality reflects our outer reality. So if the collective is experiencing a lot of frustration and pain and hurt, then that's going to in turn be reflected in our environment and in our actions that we take towards people, places, and situations. So the next message that it ties into the next card that I actually pulled, and the numbers that I got, because I haven't done numerology, because I got mad because people was playing lotto, but I can't control people's actions. So the 3 numbers that I received, and only 2 of them have a message, is number 1, which is about new beginnings and potential for great. It's great, a time for great potential, and I'll get into that with this message. The other number was 5, and that number represents change. It also represents adversity. And what I got just from the numerology is learning. We have to learn how to, number 1, adapt to things that we face, adapt to those challenges that we face. Do not be moved. That's what just came to my head. Do not be moved. And that's something that, if you look back in time when segregation was happening and our people were sitting at countertops, what was instilled into them and what was part of their training was, do not be moved. No matter what the opposition does, no matter what they throw at you, no matter what they hit you with, do not be moved. And that is very, very important. That just came to me. Do not be moved, okay? So I'm going to get into the message. Another word that came to me was levity. And I looked up the definition of this, and that's being able to, levity is what happens on Twitter a lot, where they're able to take a serious situation and make it humorous and find the humor and make a joke out of something serious. And that's both a good thing and both a not so good thing, because on the not so good side, that means that we don't take things seriously, that we become numb. It's not ethnocentrism. Is that how you say that word? But It's where we become so numb to things that happen in the outside world, and we're not surprised, to where we don't react to things. We think it's funny. We find a joke. So levity is a word, and you guys can look that up. It's Levity. Is the word that came to me last night. But I'm gonna get into the message. So the affirmation was, I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. So that speaks to speaking our truth and verbalizing our frustrations instead of acting out of emotions. Y'all, it's a couple pages, but we're going to get through it, okay? So it speaks on holy rage. It speaks on sacred anger. Let me get this because I want to say it speaks on sacred anger. It speaks on positive aggression. And if you follow me and you look at my tweets, that to some people is like, this girl on this crazy stuff again. For those that are spiritually in tune and those that are also educated, they know that I don't just talk out of my behind. But positive aggression is the thing. And it's important to find different ways to go about what it is that we're doing, and I'll get into more in depth. So not being able to and knowing how to express our anger and frustration leaves that unexpressed energy to fester inside of us. And unexpectedly, it is released unintentionally or through some source of provoking, which is going on right now. The collective is feeling so much pain, confusion, frustration, and anger that has been built up for almost a year now due to quarantines, elections, government, and political issues. We don't know whether to fight, protest, or tear some shit up to get our frustration out. And I said I wasn't gonna curse, but and more importantly, we're doing these things to get the attention of those that we elected to help us, to help govern our daily lives. It's frustrating working, paying taxes, and giving blood, sweat, and tears into a system that lied to us, used us, and truly doesn't give back what we put in. Changing presidents and electing officials does not fix the problem. Expressing our frustrations with negative aggression does not fix the problem. So today's message is solely about positive aggression. It means acting with love on behalf of what causes us pain, anger, and breaks our hearts. It means that fueling negativity with more negativity produces darkness. We should never fear expressing our anger directly to an institution or injustice. We should learn how to move that anger from pure emotion to conscious action. Acting out of emotion. And I said this on my but what I want to say is, and I said this wasn't going to be a political type conversation, but acting out of emotions. That's easy to say, not to act out of emotions, but we have been, remember I told y'all, protect your heart chakra, because that is the main center that is targeted, and that drives our emotions. And we have been programmed to not think logically, not to move with conscious action. We have been manipulated emotionally and mentally. We have been conditioned emotionally and mentally to break our spirit, to break our soul, to break our spiritual centers, our spiritual compass that is inside of us. So I don't mean to speak as if the words that I'm saying are easy to just up and live by, up and do. I do, me living this human experience with you guys, I do have that understanding that we have been programmed and we have been manipulated and conditioned. And that was done purposefully to fit an agenda. I'm gonna get back into my message because I speak on this in what I wrote down. It's been done purposely to for an agenda for the majority to be able to prosper and to be able to live in what they consider peace or wealth, or it's not even wealth, it's richness. So back to my message. So act with conviction and from love. We want to feel that same security and protection that was promised to us if we abide by the laws, the rules, and the social norms. So, me and my mom had a conversation about sociological theories and perspectives. And if you don't know, and if you pay attention to some of the things I say, I'm currently taking human services. It's a portion of psychology, but that's currently what I'm taking right now. And Intro to Sociology was a class that I took last semester. I think that may have been the class where I was like, I got an A or a B in, but it don't matter what I got in the class. But the point is, it taught not only about societal norms and social behaviors and patterns, but how people view society from different perspectives. So one of those perspectives in particular is playing out right now, and it's called the control theory. So this is a Marx theory. So that speaks on the inner controls and the outer controls and the two control system that are in place. And that's another conversation that we can have later on, but it speaks on conformity as well. So Marx's theory is playing out. He stated that the working class must overthrow the existing class system of capitalistic societies in order to show their power, in order to balance those scales. We can go deeper on that point, but that's just something that I wanted y'all to understand. And Marx's theory and all of these things were written decades ago, so it's been a ripple effect throughout history. And it's been very, very so that's when the most, y'all notice, that's when the most impactful change ever happened. When people protested, when people got out there and tore some shit up, when the people showed the government that we make the government. But when the smoke clears and things are slowly ushered back into those norms, it goes back to the way it was previously. This is not supposed to be about a political message, but I just wanted to speak on the fact that we have to find a new way to go about doing these things. And that doesn't mean because it's a new generation, this new generation needs to do what the older generation did, because that didn't, if we're looking, what they didn't really make any progress. It made certain changes, but it didn't make a lasting impact, if that makes sense. So it is time to not act with emotions, but with logic. I told you guys when I first started doing these videos that organization and strategizing is what is needed, but quietly. Y'all want to be loud about everything. Y'all want to let everybody know that y'all doing something. Even giving to the homeless or giving to the less unfortunate is loud. We have to do things for show and do things for clout instead of being quiet about organizing and being strategic. And I don't mean organizing and being strategic to display our frustrations negatively. It's about silently making those positive changes within our own neighborhoods and within our own community, and silently. Okay? So we need to learn when a space and place is no longer serves us as well. No matter how hard we push, if there's no real progress, then it's time to regroup and consider alternatives, different routes, and methods. That's enough of my political rant. Okay, I'm finna get into the spiritual message. So the scripture that I pulled was Psalm 59:9. Let God handle the big stuff is the message. Surrender things that are out of your control to God. Give me just a second. Let me get my laptop. It's right here. I want to actually read the message because that message was so deep. God, God's deep. Spirit is deep. Spirituality is deep. It's not superficial. It's not none of this surface. And we were just talking about that briefly on Twitter. It's none of this surface and materialistic stuff that we keep seeing. And I feel like just like everything else, people try to commercialize everything. Where is it? Because I was getting work done. As I get work done, I have to close these tabs. I got all these tabs open. Alright, so what is this? I'm going to open a new window for this. I really need to go put my fingernails back on. No, I don't, because I got stuff to make. Hold on. So the message was, and this is referring to God. God cares for the land and waters it. You enrich it abundantly. The stream of God are filled with water to provide people with grain, for so you have ordained it. You drench its furrows and level its ridges. You soften it with showers and bless its crops. You crown the year with your bounty, and your carts overflow with abundance. The grasslands of the wilderness overflow. The hills are clothed with gladness. The meadows are covered with flocks, and the valleys are mantled with grain. They shout for joy and sing. So what this message is saying to me is God is a provider. God made everything, and that's what this says. God made everything, every living and breathing thing and creature on this planet. And if it's been already in God's plan and it's already orchestrated by God to make sure that all of the plants and the water and all of those things are provided for, then we have to trust and have faith that the things that we need, not the things that we want, that nourishment that we need, that abundance that we need, that the crops and food, both literally and spiritually, that we need, there is an abundance of that with God if we follow our spiritual paths and surrender those big things to God. Okay, so let me get back to what I wrote here. So take each moment as it comes and be fully present. Be here now. When you have faith in God, you trust that everything will happen in God's perfect timing. We often fall into the illusion that we are in control, when in actuality, God's divine plan is playing out perfectly. Now, these are the exact words of the message that this scripture gave to me in my my Love and Light Oracle deck. So, the scripture and message is saying, and we're going to wrap up this message, and I want you guys to stay safe. I want you to be blessed. I want you to stay blessed. I want you guys to find a way to be positive and productive. Okay? I don't care if we have 1 million authors that come out within the next month. That's a million people that are not out there risking their lives for a cause and for things that are in God's hands. Okay? So the message is, and I'm just going to redo the affirmation as well. God's hands, God's plan, God's timing. God's hands, God's plan, God's timing. God's hands, God's plan, God's timing. That affirmation again was, I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. I am pure strength. I honor my anger by giving voice to it. I want you guys to please, 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 as I stated, stay safe, y'all. Know when the battle is yours. This battle is not ours, it is God's. God's hand, God's plan, God's timing. Namaste.